One of the more traumatic things to come out of the Obi-Wan series was definitely the tomb that we saw in episode 4, seeing the fate of all those Jedi, where they ended up in the end. Serving the light, serving good, life just isn't fair, and this was hammered in with that scene. We saw many Jedi frozen in time, basically, pseudo-dead in a way. Many Jedi members, Jedi Knights, but especially the Jedi Masters, like Terra Sinube. The moment I saw Terra Sinube, there were conflicting emotions. I honestly felt nostalgia and great to see him again, especially in live action, but felt sad to see this great Jedi Master have this dark destiny of serving the Inquisitors and the Sith, either as a display trophy or maybe perhaps something more sinister is going on. There's been tons of speculation about this place. Is it perhaps something that the Inquisitors and the Sith made to feed off of their Force energy? With what we see with Grogu in The Mandalorian, how the remnant Imperials want to use him, with what we see with Palpatine later on Exegol. Even in some cases, you can see similarities between Darth Malak and how he uses Jedi bodies in order to replenish his dark energy. All in all, a disturbing scene altogether, something to always be reminded of. We saw more practical use by the Grand Inquisitor, with Master Luminara Unduli using her as a beacon. However, there is a bit of a difference between everything I've seen and these specific Jedi frozen in time, perhaps even dead. All of them have the appear of shock in their face. That's all of their facial expressions. Terra Sinube a little, but the other Jedi's expressions are much more pronounced, especially when we come at the end with the youngling. He is in total shock, perhaps even pain. It's very similar to being frozen in carbonite, of course. I assume that they were undergoing some trauma when they were frozen at this time, similar to how Han was frozen in carbonite and had this look of pain and shock in his frozen face. The main question I want to tackle for this video, of course, is how did Terra Sinube get caught? Most of the Jedi in there seem to be unknown Jedi for the most part, but Terra Sinube was an older, skilled, masterful Jedi, somebody that we all know and love, so it stands to reason to think, how did they actually capture him? And most probably the writers hinted at his capture with the last person Obi-Wan sees in that chamber room, and that is a very small youngling. This is, I think, the real story behind how Terra Sinube got captured. To understand this, we need to explore what we know from him previously. Of course, most people remember Terra Sinube by that Ahsoka episode where Ahsoka lost her lightsaber, but it was Terra Sinube who actually taught her the important lesson of patience. You see, with somebody like Anakin at her side, Anakin was extremely impatient, so much so that even Obi-Wan discussed it openly. So there was not a lot of lessons in patience that was going on between Ahsoka and Anakin. This is why that episode is so important for somebody like Ahsoka, and Terra Sinube being the vehicle to that virtue. Ahsoka ultimately learned from Terra Sinube when it is time to lash out, but when it is time to be calm, to be thoughtful. As Qui-Gon said, live in the moment, live in the now. I would safely say that the live-action Ahsoka we see now in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, this Ahsoka is partly Terra Sinube as well. Not saying that Anakin did not have his role in it, Yoda, Obi-Wan, even Plo Koon, but there is hints of Terra Sinube in her as well, where we can see her patience even with Mando in the Book of Boba Fett. Instead of telling him outright to leave Luke and Grogu alone, she persuades him, convinces him with her mind instead of with her muscle, unlike a young Ahsoka. So why was Terra Sinube such a proficient Jedi? So much so that left an impact with the fans with a very short amount of screen time. Well, now in canon we learn a little bit more about Terra Sinube. The fact that he is more than 230 years old, even 300, he was pretty much a well-known Jedi even during the High Republic era. Decades before the invasion of Naboo, where the Phantom Menace takes place, he was a teacher to none other than two younglings we know very much about, and that is Count Dooku and Sifo Dyas. Later on, he became a Jedi High Council member, But we can clearly see by the ending of the Clone series that Terra Sinube had taken a step back from the Clone Wars completely. One of the last times we saw Terra Sinube was in Season 5, where he was training younglings during the Anakin vs. Barriss Offee episodes, and overall the Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order arc. So in a way, the Clone Wars series definitely teaches us that Terra Sinube was not a soldier in the least. He did not participate too much in the Clone Wars. In fact, he was proud to be a peacekeeper and a traditional Jedi. That's why he concerned himself mostly with the Jedi Temple and with the younglings, teaching the future generation. This is what his elder life was all about. So it very much stands to reason that this is how he got caught. In the last shot inside that chamber, as I said, we see Obi-Wan staring at a youngling, frozen and petrified. I think this is a hint that being that Terra Sinube is the first Jedi he sees and the Padawan is the last, it was in fact Terra Sinube who perhaps intervened in saving a lot of younglings. Maybe not all of them, but pretty much a whole bunch. Him sacrificing or saving most of the younglings gives us a clear answer as to how Gungi survived Order 66 too. We also Gungi ignite his green lightsaber, his wooden lightsaber at that. We all saw Gungi in the Bad Batch Season 2 trailer, meaning he will probably come together with the gang at some point in time in the series, but in my opinion he completely survived because of Master Terra Sinube. And when Gungi appears in the Bad Batch Season 2, we will get another mention of Master Terra Sinube and him explaining how he survived, but Master Terra Sinube got caught by the Inquisitors or even by Vader. The result being, we see him in the Obi-Wan series in Episode 4, frozen forever in this tomb. I'm not a real believer in this speculation by the fans, but if you believe that Reva is actually that youngling that we see in the intro of the Obi-Wan series when Order 66 takes place, then there is a chance that in fact Terra Sinube was trying to save Reva, but in the end Reva was the one that gave him away, perhaps betrayed him later on. We won't know the exact details until they are uncovered, and I believe they will be uncovered someday, but until then we could only speculate and think the best possibilities of how Terra Sinube, a great Jedi, came to be captured this way. This not to say that other Jedi Masters and great Jedi could not be captured, like for example Unduli, but Terra Sinube just hit us in the feels, you know? It's just one of those things that I wanted to tackle. So tell me what you guys think about this possibility as well. And how do you think Terra Sinube got captured? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you can have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.